everyone, I'm Sarah and this is my channel, So Sarah Sewed. In today's video, I'll be sharing some recent makes of what I sewed for and wore on a cruise ship holiday. Now, my most recent video that I posted was before my holiday, and it was when I was in the planning stages of what I was hoping to make and what I thought would be essential items for the cruise. I'm happy to report that pretty much everything that I thought would be good and that I ended up making for the cruise really did get some good wear, and I was really happy with the way the pieces worked. I travelled with my two children, ages 6 and 8, and my parents on a cruise that left Sydney and did 9 nights around Vanuatu and New Caledonia. So we had 2 days at sea and then 4 different port stops and then 2 more days at sea, and then we were back in Sydney again. The weather didn't get really warm. On the ship it was comfortable, and then on the days we were out of the ship it was probably low 20s to mid 20s at the most, but much more pleasant than being in a Melbourne winter, so it was quite nice. I'll go through the things I made and wore on the cruise by category, starting with some t-shirts. I made several t-shirts for this holiday and I used 2 different patterns to make all of them. The first being the Stellan tee, which is a free pattern by French Navy, and the other one was the Tabitha tee, which is by Tilly and the Buttons from this book here. The 2 t-shirts are pretty similar. I mean, they're just basic tees. I find the Stellan one is a bit longer. It also has a curved hemline on the side, and the t-shirts are and the sleeves are a bit bigger and boxier. I really enjoy sewing up both of these patterns, but I think I prefer sewing up the Tabitha tee, and mainly because the seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch rather than a 1/4 inch. I find that having a 5/8 seam allowance means that when I'm inserting my neckbands, I just have a lot more success. I suppose there's a little bit more margin for error if you're not working with such a small seam allowance. So I always baste first, and then I go and sew at that seam allowance, and then I trim, and then I top stitch it down so it's nice and flat. This one is a Tabitha tee, and this one is made in a rayon jersey that I got from Spotlight, just on a whim at the very last moment when I wanted a darker colour t-shirt. Got lots of wear actually, and it's very comfortable, so I'll stand up and show you. I will include proper pictures of everything I made. Where I can, I'll include pictures of me wearing it on my holiday, but where I can't, I'll put posed pictures from home in there. But this was my first Tabitha tee, and I'm really happy with it. When I bought the fabric, I thought that the print was going to be a horizontal design, and then I realized that it wasn't, and I wasn't sure about it, but actually I've got used to it and I quite like the way it sort of falls. I don't know, it reminds me a little bit of rocks or something like that, something quite natural. So I really like this t-shirt, and I think I'll get a lot of wear of it over the summer when the weather warms up. I made another Tabitha tee, and this is another fabric from Spotlight, and it was a kind of a pinky lilac-y French terry fabric. I'd never made a t-shirt in a French terry before, but I quite like the feel of it actually. It was a nice weight for those days that weren't really, really warm, but you still wanted to have a t-shirt on. So it feels a little bit more bulky, definitely more bulky than this one, which is quite a light feeling tee. And this one was a little bit, just had that little bit more weight to it. But again, very comfortable. It's just come out of my drawer, so I apologize for the creases, but I actually put this on recently and I think it's shrunk a bit in the wash. I had pre-washed it, but it's a little bit more snug now that I wear it now. So hopefully it'll loosen up a little bit again once I start wearing it, but I haven't worn it since the cruise, and I'll put some pictures in of me wearing it while I was away. Just another really comfortable Tabitha tee. I make my Tabitha tees in size 5, which is pretty much what I make all of my Tilly and the Buttons patterns in. My measurements put me pretty much around a size 5. So I also made some Stellan tees, and this is a free pattern by French Navy. This first one I'll show you I made in another fabric from Spotlight, just a cotton elastane, in this sort of check fabric. Again, this is quite a thick weight cotton jersey, And this one got lots of wear on the cruise. I think what I really like about the Stellan tee, or what I like to do with the Stellan tee, is wear it with the sleeves cuffed a little bit, because as I said, the sleeves are a little bit bigger and more bulky than the Tabitha tee, and the whole t-shirt is quite boxy, so it kind of just gives it a little bit more of a slimline kind of feeling if I've rolled up the sleeves. This one has a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, so some of the neckline sewing was not quite as easygoing as when I made the Tabitha tees, but I'm still really happy with the result. As I mentioned, the Stellan tee has a bit of a curved hem at the side there. So when you've got it untucked, it's a nice feature. I tend to usually wear my t-shirts tucked in because I'm tending to wear high-waisted skirts and pants a lot of the time. But when I do wear them out, I quite like that look. And one more Stellan tee that I made. This was in a bamboo that I'd had in my stash for quite a while. It's a bamboo jersey that I bought from My Design about 18 months ago. So just a simple white bamboo tee. I think I might have only worn this once or twice on the trip, but I think it'll be something that I wear a whole lot more as the weather warms up here. I think it'll be very versatile. It's a little bit more, I suppose the bamboo is quite a cool kind of fabric to wear. And the weather, as I said, wasn't that hot, so I didn't feel like wearing that one as much. And I also quite enjoyed wearing the more colourful tops and things because, as you'll see, my bottoms were quite plain as well. So it was nice to have a print or a colour to go with those. Oh, I did actually wear this on one night. There were a lot of themed nights on the cruise, which we hadn't really planned for. I mean, I knew they were happening, but being my first cruise, I just thought I probably won't really get involved in the themes so much, especially having my children there. I knew we weren't going to be going to any late parties or anything like that. But one of the nights was a white night, so they encourage you to wear white. So I did have my white t-shirt to wear. It was funny because my 8-year-old at one point, he didn't have anything really for the themes and he was a bit disappointed. So I think if I went again on another cruise, I would get a bit more involved in the themes, because as he said at one point, he said, I don't really feel a part of this cruise because I don't have my costumes. So I felt a bit sorry for him and a bit guilty that I hadn't made more of an effort. I honestly didn't think he'd be into it, and probably my youngest son definitely wouldn't have been, but my 8-year-old, I think he would have quite enjoyed it. So next time. I ended up making one more Tabitha tee, and it's with a fabric that I was never intending to make a t-shirt with. If you watched my previous video, you will know that I was planning to make a swimsuit, a corally swimsuit, also by Tilly and the Buttons. And I did use another fabric to make a toile of this pattern. It did not fit at all. I found the bottom half very comfortable, but the top was just extremely gapey. It wasn't something that I'd be able to fix easily because all of the elastic had been top stitched in, and I just thought I don't have time to try and fix this, or I didn't want to waste my other fabric trying to make another one. I also reflected on the fact that whenever I'm wearing bathers outside, I'm wearing a rashie, I'm wearing swim shorts, no one would really even see these bathers. I would be likely to be covering up a swimsuit with a rashie anyway, and I thought, well, why would I use this precious swim fabric on bathers that no one would ever see? So I decided, well, I should make a rash vest instead. I have made a rash top in the past, one with a zip from a pattern from Swim Style Patterns. I decided for this one though, I would just use a simple t-shirt pattern because I didn't want anything to be really tight. I didn't want that really fitted rash top look or feel. So I thought I would just use my trusty Tabitha tee pattern and use my swim fabric for that instead. So I'll show you. I feel like this was the perfect use of this fabric. I'm so happy with the way it worked out. It's just such a fun item to wear. I got a lot of wear out of this on a couple of islands and on the water slide on the cruise ship. So that was really fun. And I'll wear this all summer as well. So I didn't have enough fabric. I would have preferred to have made a long sleeved one, but I didn't have enough fabric for that. So I just made the Tabitha tee, extended the sleeves as long as I could with what I had. And apart from that, no other modifications. So just a Tabitha tee, but made with a swim fabric. And I think it's perfect. I forgot to mention where this fabric is from. This is a swim fabric from Australian designer Ellie Whittaker. I was able to purchase a 1 metre piece of this fabric earlier in the year when she had a sale on her swim fabrics, so I'm very happy with the way I put it to use. So let's get into the bottoms that I made. I ended up making 2 skirts and 2 pairs of pants for this trip. I had already planned to make the Pomona pants by Anna Allen Patterns, and I made 2 pairs of those in the end. The first one's in a black linen that I bought from Spotlight. I think it's a linen cotton blend, and another one in a yarn dyed cotton that I had in my stash from Darn Cheap Fabrics from a few years ago. I definitely bought it while I was in lockdown during COVID, so I have had it in my stash for quite some time. I was planning to make a matching top to go with these pants, and I haven't got around to it yet, but I'll definitely still plan to do that for the summer because I've got quite a bit of this fabric left still. So the Anna Allen Pomona pants come in 3 different views: shorts, wide leg pants, and tapered pants. So I made the wide leg pants, but I reduced the length by 3 inches. I'm 160 centimeters tall, and I didn't want them to be going over my feet. So they're just a really, really simple pair of pants. I put 1 pocket on the back, and that's pretty much it. I don't think I really got a good photo of myself wearing these on the cruise, so I will try and go and model them this afternoon. So I've got some pictures to put in, and I'll show you what they look like. But just a really simple, lightweight pair of pants that, again, I think I'll get a lot of wear out of over the summer. I'd like to make a matching Gilbert top to go with these by Helen's Closet, because I think that would be just a really nice set to wear together. The Pomona pants are a really simple pattern. There's no outer leg seam, so there's only the inside seam and then the waistband. They come together really, really fast. So if you're looking for a pair of pants or shorts to make quickly, I recommend these. Elastic waistband all the way around, and yeah, I think the thing that I like about these pants, because I'd made the shorts in the past, which is why I decided to make the pants, is unlike some other elasticized waist pants that I have, they don't seem to have a huge amount of excess fabric around my bottom. So I've had other pants that I like the look of from the front, but from behind, I just feel like there's just so much excess fabric that I don't like the look of them. These ones, they're just a little bit less fabric around the back, and so I feel a little bit more confident wearing them. As I mentioned, I also made some black ones. Now these ones got a lot of wear on the cruise. Really, really comfortable. Obviously we'll go with everything because they're just black. These ones I only raised by 2 inches. So they're a little bit longer than the blue ones. But yeah, a really, really comfortable pair of pants to wear. And yeah, I wore them a lot, and I will wear them a lot going forward as well. I think these will be fine for work as well when the weather warms up. So I'm looking forward to getting more wear out of those ones. I've just checked my notes, and actually these are 100% linen from Spotlight. They're not the linen cotton blend, but the 100% linen. The other 2 bottoms that I did make are made from the Spotlight linen cotton blend. One of them that I had in my stash for quite a while, and another that I decided to buy for this purpose. And from those fabrics, I made 2 of the Clo Bias skirt by Soften Studio. This is not a pattern I'd ever tried before, but I really liked the look of it, and I thought it could be a handy sort of item to have in my wardrobe. I don't have a lot of skirts. I certainly don't have any summer ones, but I thought it would be very wearable, and it was kind of something I felt like was lacking in my wardrobe. So I bought the pattern and I made one. Absolutely love it. Such a simple pattern to make. So 2 skirt pieces cut on the bias and a waistband, which then you top stitch and put a drawstring into. I'd say that these skirts were my most worn items of the cruise, and I'm so happy that I made them. They were so easy to pull on. They went with a whole lot of things. They were great for being able to throw over bathers and be able to take them off easily at the beach and things like that. And yeah, I wore them a lot. I wore them casually. I wore them for dinner, and I made one in a sort of a deep red color and one in a sort of olivey kind of green color. So as you can see, the waistband is top stitched down, which I think gives it a really nice effect actually. And then there's a drawstring that goes through there. They're exactly the same. I made no changes to either of them. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed making these and I really enjoyed wearing them. So excited to wear more of those over the summer. Yeah, and I really would recommend this pattern if it's something you're interested in. There are two lengths for this skirt, two length options. I made the shorter option. As I'm only 160 centimeters tall, I thought that that would hit me around where I wanted to anyway, which is sort of below the knee, around the calf area. And it does, and yeah, very, very happy with this skirt. I also made two dresses for the cruise, and I used the Alea shirt and dress pattern by Marsha Style in collaboration with So Lala Patterns. The reason that this dress in particular stood out to me was that it looked very versatile. I'll put the line drawings in, but you can see it has two different color options. You can make it as a shirt or as a dress. There are different sleeve length options and different sleeve finishing options. I decided to just do the elasticized cuffs, mainly because that would be the simplest thing to do rather than learning how to do a button placket cuff, which I haven't done before. And there were also pictures of a belt going around the dress, and I thought there's just a whole lot of different ways to wear it. I could imagine myself wearing this pattern sometimes just as kind of a duster jacket, sometimes buttoned up but then over pants, sometimes fully buttoned up as just a dress, sometimes with belt, sometimes without. So I thought it would be very versatile. I started by making a toile of the pattern, and I used a cotton sateen that I'd had in my stash for years. It was one of the very first fabrics I ever bought from Nerida Hansen. And I think it looks great actually. I'm really, really happy with it. I reduced the length on this one by 4 inches. So it's a lot shorter than the pattern is designed for. And with this one, I did do the slits as directed by the pattern. So there's slits on each of the legs, and then the stand-up collar, which I'd never done before. I did find that a little bit challenging. That was definitely the hardest part about this pattern. The rest of it was pretty straightforward. I'll show you. I'll put some photos of me wearing this on the ship. I got my son to take some photos of me in this one. I think it'll be a really, really great dress to throw over bathers over the summer because it's very light, it's very comfortable, and it gives a lot of good coverage as well from the sun. But yeah, I think it's quite fun with the white background, and then you've got these little snakes, which aren't too obvious, but they are there. Yeah. The designer of this fabric is Lillian Farag, which I just looked up because I could not remember. But yeah, I think a really nice sort of fresh looking palette on that white with the little splashes of pink and red there and the yellow as well. But yeah, I think I'll get a lot of wear out of this one when the weather is warmer too. So that was kind of a wearable toile because I had another fabric that I had always planned to be a shirt dress. And that was a fabric I was able to get from a Variety Hour warehouse sale, which they don't have very often. They're usually just a retail brand. They sell beautiful clothing. But they had some fabrics available, and I was lucky enough to get 4 meters of this linen viscose blend in this really large protea print. So I made the Alea dress again, and I made the same size, I made the same options, including the collar and the sleeve elastic cuff. But this time I didn't make it as short, and I also didn't include the slits on the side. I decided just to make it one continuous closed hem. This one I only reduced by 2 inches, so it's a little bit longer than the white one. I just wanted to have just that little bit extra length for this one. This was a fantastic dress to travel with actually because it really didn't crease. So yeah, it looked good throughout the cruise. And yeah, I got quite a bit of wear out of it. I wore it to dinner one night, I wore it on a day trip another day, and I've worn it since. Actually, I wore it to work recently too as kind of a jacket over an outfit, and I think I'll get a lot more wear out of it. I'll work on different ways I can wear it, because I just love the print so much. It's quite bold and just beautiful colors, so I love it. I did add a belt to this one. So I mentioned in some of the styling of the pattern, they had one of the designers wearing a belt with the dress. Now there's actually no pattern pieces for a belt, so I had to find my own. I decided to use the belt pattern pieces from the Wixton shift dress that I had because I like the thickness of that belt. I'm sure it'll be easy for lots of people just to draft their own, but I like to have a pattern sometimes, and to know that I know it's going to be a good length and a good width. So that's what I did. I haven't actually worn it with the belt yet. I do like the feeling of the dress just being very comfortable, not restrictive at all, having nothing around my waist. So that's how I wore it while I was away, and it's also how I wore it when I wore it to work recently. And but yeah, I do have the belt as an option if I do want to style it that way at some point as well. But yes, I'm happy with the way that dress turned out, and I'm happy with my choice of pattern to use that fabric for. And yeah, I've actually got a little bit left over because I had 4 meters of it. There's probably enough to make a simple top, so I'll think about that as well, because yeah, I love this fabric, and very comfortable, very soft. The last item that I made and took on the cruise was a layering piece. I made the True Bias Marlo sweater, and this was something I threw on almost every single day. It was the perfect layering piece for the cruise, and it has been since then too. I have worn it several times a week since getting back. It's so comfortable. I think one of the reasons it's so comfortable is the choice of fabric that I used. I used a brushed sweater knit from My Design, and it's just so soft. I've washed it a few times, but it's just got this beautiful soft inside, which you just want to put on and snuggle around you. And the color I used was called Hunter Green. Now, I was a little bit surprised when this arrived. It probably looks a little bit different on when I bought it on the screen to how it arrived, because my first thought when it arrived was that it looked very similar to the color of sort of the generic green cardigans that you see in Kmart or Target for kids' school uniforms here. And I thought I'm going to end up looking like I'm wearing like an oversized kids' school cardigan. But I made it anyway. And yeah, I might look like that a little bit. I suppose it depends what you wear it with, right? So as long as I don't wear it with matching tracksuit pants, I should get away with it. I think also having, using particular buttons helps as well. So deciding not to use green buttons, but going with these kind of copper metallic buttons that I got from Button Mania, which is nice and close to me. I think that probably helps as well. So this cardigan comes in 2 different lengths, and I went with a longer one. I had seen some people say that they thought it was quite oversized and that they would size down, but I wanted it to be oversized. I wanted it to have that sort of really cozy, comfy, snuggly feeling. So I made the size that aligned with my body measurements, which was a size 12, and I'm really happy I did. I wanted it to be, yeah, as I said, I wanted it to have that really sort of cozy feeling. So yeah, there's quite a bit of room in the arm, but that's good if I've got, you know, a big sleeve underneath that I want to go over. And then yeah, I've made the long length and it's got the pockets down here as well. I didn't use ribbing for mine, so I just used the exact same fabric for the neckline, the cuffs, and the hem band throughout. Something to be aware of is that there are listed in the pattern 2 different sets of instructions for the neckband, and they're called the easy version and the intermediate version. I might have missed this, but I couldn't find anywhere in the instructions an explanation of why you would elect to do the intermediate version, what benefit there was in doing the intermediate version. But I just decided, well, if they're going to give two options, well, the intermediate one must end up with a neater finish or a better sort of looking finish. So that's what I decided to do. However, I found it quite fiddly, and I have written down in my notes that if I were to make this pattern again, that I would just go with the easy version and see if there's, if there's any noticeable difference in the finish. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind if you are making this pattern. Maybe if you've made it before, you will have a better idea of what the difference is and whether it was a good move or not for me to do the intermediate version. That's how my corners finished out. I think they look pretty neat. I'm not sure what they look like if you were to do the easy version, but yeah. Anyway, that sums up everything I made for my cruise. I will also just show a couple of my favorite outfits that I put together using these new items with things that I had in my wardrobe that I took on my cruise. In particular, I just wanted to show you this favorite, probably my favorite outfit from the whole cruise, which is one of my new clow-by skirts plus my patina blouse, which is a pattern that I made early this year, but I had never worn. I had never found the opportunity to wear it. I couldn't figure out what I was going to wear it with. And then we had a night on the cruise called Island Night. So I said, if you've got a Hawaiian style shirt, wear that. And I had my patina blouse, which I'd always sort of felt a bit self-conscious about looking a little bit too much like a Hawaiian shirt. And I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity to wear it. And I teamed it with one of my clow-by skirts, and I think it looks excellent. If I say so myself, I think it's just a great match. Something about the balance of the two items together, I just think it really works. So I'm looking forward to wearing this combination again over the summer and finding more ways to wear the patina blouse because it's such a cool print. I think it'll go well with those Pomona pants. I know it goes well with the skirt now, but yeah, I'm looking forward to wearing more of that. So it's been quite a while since I've made one of these videos. I've been so busy back at work, and then I'm also working on Sundays again with another school musical. So I'm sorry it's taken me so long to share these makes with you. I will try and get on again soon and talk about what I'm making now, what I've made recently. But until then, I hope you're well, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.